Hello, this is Rachel from 7 and All, and in today's video I am going to be taking you on a bookshelf tour of the shelves right behind me. Books are some of my all-time favorite things and favorite things to talk about, so I'm excited about this video. I do want to start this out just by saying two of my big guiding philosophies with organization of homeschool materials is one, know yourself and know what's important to you. So as you see my bookshelves, you're going to notice they aren't the most aesthetic. They aren't the Instagram style bookshelves. Not everything is white. I don't have the color coordinated plastic containers. I have a lot of repurposed cardboard boxes, mismatching shelves because both of them were free and were given to us. You know, if you love me, give me a bookshelf. Know yourself and know what's important to you. For some of you, the looks and the prettiness is going to be a lot more important. Go for it. For me, it's not the most important. Function is more what I go for here. So in my organization, you'll see kind of function come to the forefront. And number two, your organizational system doesn't really need to make sense to anyone other than the people that are going to be using it. So you're the one who's going to be using it. Come up with an organization system that is understandable and useful for you. All right, with that introduction out of the way, let's get started. I have this Calyx style bookshelf from IKEA, which is quite popular, I know, among book lovers and homeschoolers. So I'll go through cubby by cubby and I'll try to give you some close-ups because I know you guys are nosy and want to see what titles are on the shelves. But you can just see this is my homeschool space here. So it is right next to our dining table where we eat and where we do schoolwork. And I have all my books right next to it. So handy to grab as I'm setting up for our day and to put them right away as we finish each day. So starting with this cubby right here, this one is for my oldest child. So we have math, llamitas, Spanish curriculum here. We have all the readers that he's currently working through, which these are pretty much all taken from Sunlight's second grade reading program, and he's read a number of them already. He still has more to go. As we get closer to finishing these up, I'm going to have to go raid my mom's shelves to find some more, slightly more challenging readers for him. And then these books over here are some of the read alouds that I'm planning that will be coming up to next after our current chapter book read alouds. We've actually been doing our chapter book read alouds at night before bed, and that's been working really well for us recently. Then I will scooch us over. Then next to that cubby is this one, which is for my second son with some of his work that we're working through with math. We're just beginning to dip our toes into all about reading, starting very slowly with the first few lessons. He's read just the first two stories of this first reader, and he is so proud and so excited to share how he's reading those stories. We have his Llamitas preschool binder, flashcards. This is the activity book for All About Reading, and here's where this is our Gentle and Classical Kindergarten binder. So this is a lot of his stuff that I'm pulling. They also have a few independent workbooks for both of them that I more keep just on our little rolling cart. Now let's move you on over a little bit more. This drawer right here is very, very important. It might not look all that important, but it is. It is a junk drawer, and junk drawers are incredibly important for the homeschool experience. This is full of like styrofoam trays from the fruit cellar and paint and beads, glue, all the kind of supplies. It also has glitter. I tend to keep the art supplies that I don't want my children to totally just see and get into whenever they want to. I keep them here in this drawer of random supplies. Incredibly important for homeschool. Then here is where I am collecting my books for the Curious Kinder, which we have not begun yet. I haven't released it as of the time of filming this video. And this is not all the books. I am still waiting on a number of them to arrive, so I'm going to fill up the space. This has nothing to do with the Curious Kinder. This is a gigantic book that I'm reading myself slowly, a few pages at a time when I get a few minutes with all the boys happy and occupied. And right now this is a good place to keep it, so I can just grab it and read it at the table when I have some time. Now you'll notice that I tend to keep all of the books that go with one literature-based curriculum together on one shelf. I got this habit from my mom, the original homeschooler. So these are all the books that go with Sunlight Tea. And we are not currently using Sunlight Tea. However, a lot of these books are very frequently read in our home. I don't even want to know how many times I have read this particular book, but it definitely is in the triple digits and possibly high triple digits. But many of these books are ones that we have pulled out and read so many times. George and Martha, fairy tales, Mike Mulligan has been a favorite. We've read many of those. So I'm not currently going through tea anymore, but these just are a lot of favorite books for our family. So I still kind of keep it already here. This is another wonderful treasury of picture books, easy, quick reads that we can grab even when we're no longer using them for school. Then this cubby here doesn't have as much to do with homeschool. This is all my stuff. Basically, I have all of my boys' baby books and birthday albums here. And yes, even the third one has his own baby book. And it is filled out up until the age that he is right now. So I'm on top of it. But I also have photo albums, little photo books in here, and I keep my planners here. This is the current one for this year, and a few notebooks that we're working on. This is my important stuff. You'll notice I keep albums or baby books in plastic or in cases because our tropical climate is just really rough on books, and this seems to preserve them better, keep them from yellowing. So that's been kind of a way I've found to keep them in better condition. That's my stuff. Let's move on to the next cubby. All right, here's a shelf that is mainly not composed of books that we use for school at all. This is just fun books. These are our short, fun, quick picture books. It's maybe about 50-50, English, Spanish. I think this one technically is part of our kindergarten math curriculum, but they love it so much we read it a lot outside of that. These are the kinds of books that my boys will just pull out randomly for us to read when I'm doing bedtime stories or just snack time or it's not school. These are kind of the shelf that they will head to most frequently. And it's all mixed together. As you can see, there's a lot of Spanish. There's English as well. It's a really solid mix on this particular shelf. Then over here, this is the shelf that I'm pulling from for our morning time each day these days. So here is my little pouch. You'll notice I have a few of these pouches. These are our flashcards or memory cards that we are going through right now. They are all in that little pouch. I pull it out every day. We have Homeschool Languages Spanish. We have our Bible storybook. Here's our volume of folk tales that we're reading, one a week right now. We have theology, some other folk tales we're going to be getting to, our fables. Several of these are scheduled. So we have Treat in the Trail and 50 Famous Stories. These are all part of morning time, breakfast morning time these days. So I just keep them all together on this shelf. And then you'll notice there's a few things that are not really part of morning time. I also have our Beast Academy stored here, as well as a bunch of Evan Moore history pockets that I'm also using, coordinating them with Sequence 1. That's just so I can easily remember where they are. I had space on this shelf, so they're going here. Like I said, the organization system just needs to work for you, the person who is using it. Now, as I think many of us know, we tend to put things lower down on the shelves that we are not grabbing quite as frequently because how many of us like bending down to the floor all the time? But again, I have a system that works for me. Right now, the shelf is kind of empty, so it's just storing all of the rest of the Homeschool Languages Spanish box. And I will also be pulling out flashcards or resources from that each day for morning time. Here we have a lot of Spanish picture books, and these are the more advanced or longer ones. So these are less, at my boy's current age, these are less likely to be the ones that we're pulling out just for fun. but we have read most of them. We've gone through most of them, and we will continue to go through them as they get older. I also have some in here that I'm planning to have my son begin reading once he gets to this level of being able to read at this level in Spanish, because his Spanish reading is not the same as his English reading. So some of these I'm kind of just saving to be his readers. As he is improving in Spanish, we might be able to get into these in the next year. And then I have some shelves which are more of just general resource books. They're not part of anything I'm using at the moment, but I love them. They're great to go back to. I plan to go back to this big book of poetry. We've read through the whole thing. I'll probably wait a year or two and we'll read through the whole thing again and experience it again when my boys are a little older. This is Sunlight P on this shelf. So we have all of these books. Again, we have some books that are very much favorites that we come back to again and again, like the big book of Science and Nature by the Bernstein Bears. A few of those, we really liked the science books from this level. How Do You Lift a Lion? And finally, here on this bottom shelf, here I have some workbooks stored for the future, ones that we haven't gotten to yet, that we aren't yet at that level, like this La Escritura 3. We have some coloring books. This one is actually very well used, but I love this for just handing to a toddler in the high chair and letting them go to town on it. So I'm keeping it around for the next toddler. Paint with Water. This is kind of our random books that to be used in the future or to continue being reused. Here's my shelf of the many titles that we will be reading in Sequence 1, the many, many picture books, some of which are scheduled in Sequence 1, some of which are extras that I pulled and that I plan to add on. So most of those fit there. I think I had to put a few on this next shelf. Some of our folk tales ended up over here. And then here are the other memory statement cards for Sequence 1 right there. Of course, we've got Awana bags, easy to grab and go on Saturday mornings for Awana. And then here is another shelf of books that don't necessarily go with anything, but are great resource books that I'm planning to come to in the future for some nonfiction resources like Africa, Amazing Africa, or I have another book of folk tales to come to, and then some are just nice artsy picture books that we can read from time to time, but they're maybe a little bit more on the advanced side for my boys right now. Then for this shelf over here, once again, I follow the rule of putting books on the floor that I'm not using right now or don't really need to get into. So down there we have all of our around the world books that I used with Beautiful Feet books. We used them in the past year. A lot of them are great books. We will come back to them in future history or geography studies, but they're not in active use this school year. So they're down there kind of behind this chair and stuff. That's hard to get to. Then we have a bunch of our children's Bibles, devotionals. Over here is a math shelf. So my whole collection of math picture books is right there. Math box, a few math games, and a few sets of cards because we're always using those with Math with Confidence. And I have two shelves of mostly board books for the baby. And then up here you can see my nice mismatched, repurposed cardboard boxes or different containers, and all of those contain, game pieces, puzzle pieces, little just educational activities that we can pull out from time to time. I think one of them has our Play-Doh supplies. So just kind of keep track of what's in there. This is for an upcoming year of math. I think that's the 3rd grade math level. Then on that shelf, this stack is everything I need for Gentle and Classical Preschool. And over on that shelf is everything for Gentle and Classical Primer and everything for All About Reading 2. So these curriculums that are not currently in use but will be reused again with a future child are stashed right there. And then I keep the All About Reading cards and the letter tiles right there on the top shelf, so I can just grab them from right here when I'm doing a lesson. And that is my homeschool storage space. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more nerdy homeschool videos. Bye!